I mean, I don't disbelieve that there's UFOs shaped like these egg things, but yeah, again, it's just maybe they are just making these egg things copycats and kind of making this shit up at the same time to kind of just confuse us. And the slow drip of disclosure. Again, the fact that this topic is being talked about in Congress, it's not like they're talking about ghosts and Bigfoot and shit. You know what I'm saying? This shit's real.
Right. Yeah.
But no, you're right. I think it's just they're only going to give you so fucking much, and Congress is lying their ass off of what they really know.
I wanted to talk to you guys about the whole situation with the whistleblower Jake Barber and the UFO egg. I don't know, alien egg, alien artifact. I don't know. I don't even know what it is. Do you guys have you guys heard what they claim it to be? Is it a flying object, or is it an artifact, or what is it?
Allegedly, it was a UFO that he said he was transporting. What was the long run on that? Let me see here. I might have it in my file right here. So Jacob Barber says that he worked as a security and transportation on military test ranges, recovering various crashed aircraft that were secret human technology. But then he started to see exotic objects that didn't make sense, like transmedium craft, the ones that go in and out of our dimension, that can merge from the ground or even go through solid rock, he stated. And then he came out with that egg as he was working as a helicopter pilot. He said that he was called in to airlift it out of there. Now, the strange thing about this is I have a family member, Joey, who's a Navy SEAL, and he's very familiar with how when they pick up anything, whether it be a Humvee or a large piece of equipment, how it gets strapped and secured. And he said that the coupling, the strapping mechanism that was around this thing, made no sense. And number two, there would always be a 3 or 4 man ground crew that stayed with that object until it's out of the reach of their hands. Usually they also have a guide wire on there for another 10 to 15 feet once it goes above their heads, just to make sure it stays still and doesn't, start spinning around and lose control. And after I heard all that stuff, I said, something is not sitting right with the way this egg is. I don't know. Do you guys think it was real, or do you think, I'm
No.
not buying it. Yeah.
Just before we started, I talked to Dustin about the exact same thing. I said, if this was an alien artifact or a flying object, something like that, it would be worth millions, billions of
Yeah,
dollars, and
easily.
they wouldn't transport it like that. They would secure it more, better. Uh, there, like I said, there's no ground crew. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think, uh, to give it away right away, I think it's all a big hoax. It's all a big hoax. And then a few days later, there was this another egg in Antarctica with the symbols on it and the strange boxes where they said there was an entity sleeping in it or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just it doesn't make sense, and I don't know with the night vision pictures and stuff. So if this was in a cave, the second egg, if this would if they found it in a cave, they would have put up lights and you would have better pictures of it. So to me, it's all a big hoax, and the story that came along doesn't make sense. There's the stories that you heard in the exclusive interview. There was nothing really new about it. So we heard it all before. So
Yep.
there was a lot of story building and a lot of stories and things they said that you heard it all before. The
Yep.
only new thing in quotes is the UFO thing. So and like I said, the video, I had high hopes before the interview started. We stay awake. My buddy and I we had a live stream for 6 hours and we waited for this exclusive interview to watch it with our community. And when it came on and we had all the talking and then we saw the video and we were very disappointed by the
Oh
video.
yeah.
Very.
Yep. Well, we all know also, keep in mind, when real news hits the airwaves, if this was a real extraterrestrial recovery being shown to the world, even though it was on News Nation, every media outlet would have picked that up
Yeah.
globally. Just
Yeah.
like when Jaime Maussan showed the alien puppet babies that he had, right? The alien mummies that still made world global news, right? No
Yeah.
matter if it was
True.
real or fake,
True.
global news. We have aliens, we have the bodies, here they are, right? News Nation did this, and nobody else touched this story. Fox, Eyewitness, nobody wanted it. And you brought up an interesting point. I work with night vision. That's what I do at Project Horizon. I'm the night vision guy. The military uses something that's called white phosphorus night vision. Okay, they're four goggles. They're two sets of two. If he would have been the helicopter pilot and looking at the window down towards that, you would have got a totally different angle of view from the night vision. It kind of looked like the person from the back of the helicopter stuck his head out the side door and looked down and got that shot. But even the night vision footage didn't look correct. It looked like somebody filmed a TV screen. When we saw that video, it looked like it was filmed with a cell phone, like somebody filmed a TV screen because you had that grainy effect to it. It even that didn't look right to me.
What are your thoughts on Jake Barber himself? What do you think about him?
I just watched the video yesterday, Daniel, when him and a few of his team members are out in the desert, and one of his team members is he's got a blindfold on, and he's saying he's piloting a UFO with his consciousness, and then you see these two objects fly over. Well, I took that video and I put it in my editing software yesterday, and I blew those objects up that was supposed to be a UFO that he was piloting. It was two birds that flew in that video. Two birds. You literally see the wings flapping. So I think it's all BS. I think they found a military person who was willing to talk about strange technology. I think they gave him a story to run with. Maybe he went and picked up a drone or something at some point that looked strange to him, and maybe he thought it was alien technology. But I think News Nation gave him the narrative and he ran with it. That's what I think. I think it was a scripted story, and News Nation said, you know what? If it works, it works. We have our own whistleblower, and if it don't work, it'll just fade away with the wind in time. That's my personal opinion.
So you would think it's quite interesting what he said about those feelings he had when he transported that mystery box. So it wasn't the egg. It was some kind of mystery box with some mystery content, and he said he had these strange feelings, changing feelings, stuff like that.
I'm not
That's
buying it.
no, I mean me too, but that's not new. This is what people claim to have experienced when they was allegedly in contact with alien beings. They say they have
Right.
those telepathic connection and feelings. No, I'm not buying it too. So there was nothing new there. It was very disappointing.
Very disappointing. And then Dr. Greer went on and he gave his whole spiel that, the egg UFO was ours. This was supposed to be our whistleblower that came forward. He should have never went to News Nation. It should have went through the proper channels. Like he's any better going through him. First of all, if you're going to be a whistleblower, it should go through Congress, right? It should be a congressional hearing. All that information should be exposed in a SCIF in a secure setting first, and then it trickles down to us. Being that none of that happened, I'm not buying that story. But a lot of the whistleblower stories bother me, not just his. A lot of them bother me. Like, for example, Lou Elizondo, when he was telling Congress that we had a mothership coming towards Earth, and now we have photos of it. And he showed Congress, and then a week later, we find out that it was somebody's light fixture that got exposed on the video image.
Yeah, yeah.
And he told Congress we had a mothership, an alien mothership, and Congress bought the story hook, line, and sinker. There needs to be better vetting when these stories are being told.
Yeah,
You know,
Sure.
without a doubt.
Damn.
let's take a look at the picture of the cave of the egg-shaped object in the cave. So here we go. Um, to me, even on this picture, and it's not a very good picture, to me it looks like somebody put it there not too long ago, and they claim uh, it's there for a long, long time already. So no,
No.
I don't think
Uh,
so.
it looks like an ostrich went inside a cave and gave birth. That's what it looked like to me.
No, you're right. It's just, and then yeah, man, I have a whole photograph collection from Colonel Wendell Stevens. I was lucky enough to win some
Yeah,
from a storage locker auction. But yeah, again, I have better pictures than that of
yep.
UFOs. It's so funny that these ones just get thrown away because they're from the 80s or 70s.
Right.
That, I don't know. Again, very ass backwards to me.
And what bothers me even more is if News Nation was going to spend money, right, to make the world believe that we have alien craft, they could have did a better job. You know what I mean? They could have made it look legit, like have a ground crew down there, a truck pulls
Yeah.
up, they uncouple the egg, they put it in the truck, they cover it, a couple SUVs are there with armed guards securing this thing. Make it look like a real event is happening and they're going to secure real alien technology, right? Because the way that that was situated, Joe Schmo from the corner could have came and stole that thing if it was real alien technology. They had no security, nothing, just a helicopter dropping an egg and taking off. That made just no sense, no sense. And we all
Sure.
hear the stories. We all hear the stories about how these retrievals go, and they're way more elaborate than that setup was. That was a joke.
Do you think what's strange to me is that we have breaking news almost every week?
Yeah.
So we had these mummies, these alleged alien mummies from Jaime Maussan, and then yeah, we have these congressional hearings. Um, we have Jake Barber now. We have this other guy. What is his name? Jason Sands now.
Jason Sands, right? You had David Grush,
David Grush. So
Lou,
headlines every day. So
Tim
and if
Gallaudet,
yeah, right. And if all
General
this is a big hoax, then that leads us to a few questions. The biggest question to me is why? What's the purpose? If this is a big hoax, why?
You have to ask yourself though, if all these people are starting a program like Lou and all of them, let's say they all got together behind the scenes and said, if we can get Trump organization to fund us as the new UFO office to look for extraterrestrial vehicles, we're going to get hundreds of millions of dollars to go out and look for UFOs. So money's always involved, right? And could government laws be changed? Could new policies and laws come out with this when Congress is on board? They absolutely can. They 100% can. So we have to wait and see what Trump does. If he declassifies the UFO documents, that's really good. But when you look at all these whistleblower testimonies, right? You have Jeremy Corbell there, always in the background with George Knapp.
Yeah.
And it seems the two of them have every U.S. senator and congressman's ear right now. So it's like whatever they say is gold because all the Congress people, they regurgitate everything that Jeremy Corbell says. Then you got Jeremy, he goes on TMZ and does that show that was on Tubi the other night. And he tells you, I know all this information. I got all this classified information, but I just can't tell you. So you just have to trust me on it because I can lose my life. So wait a minute. You have all this classified information. You want to bring disclosure to the community, but you can't tell us anything. So why even do a show? It was like watching an hour of, trust me, bro. I have all the answers you want, but I just can't tell you about it. So why even bring it up? Why even bring it up? I know if I film a UFO, man, I'm making a video. I'm showing the whole world that the next day, or as fast as I can get the video edited to show everybody. You know, and you would think that's how everybody would want to do it, but there's so much money in the UFO game. It's just so much money. Look how much money Greer made off his documentaries, millions of dollars. Did you ever see his house? Did you ever see Dr. Greer's mansions? He's got a mansion in North Carolina. You could probably sleep 30 people there. It's
Holy shit.
incredible. He charges $5,000 per person to go out and, film UFOs under the stars. 5,000 per person. It's a big money industry and everybody's looking to cash in on it. Believe me, that's what's going on right now.
So
It's sad.
I'd say the constant emerge of sensational and unverifiable evidence, in quotes, makes it difficult for the public to distinguish between yeah, genuine phenomena and fabrications. So
Yeah.
another possibility could be that such stories are intended to discredit the entire field of UFO research, right?
Yeah, the term that gets thrown around here a lot is psyop. One
Yeah.
big psyop is what's going on, right? And they want you to look over here, but really everything's going on over here that they don't want you to know. So they show you this. Oh, this is what a UFO looks like. Here's a pilot picking up a UFO, but really over here is where they hide all the good stuff. I also heard that the gimbal footage, there's a whole 4 minutes of that video that we never seen. They never showed it.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be other UFO craft in a V formation on there,
Yeah.
which is interesting that I would like to see. Why not show it? Like we already
Yeah.
know about it.
Same with the jellyfish UFO, right? So we haven't seen everything that footage, right?
No, we only see like what a minute snippet of them if we're lucky. We don't get the whole picture, which doesn't make sense. And then you have like Kirkpatrick. He had did a show with Mick West and a few others showing you how FLIR cameras work and this and that. And he's trying to say that what you're looking at is the fuselage from a jet way off in the distance. Now, yes, that could happen with FLIR cameras. You won't see the whole plane. You'll just see the highlighted portion that's hot or cold. So it could look like a UFO, but that gimbal footage, you watch that UFO spin around 360 degrees. I don't think
Yeah.
a plane's or a jet's fuselage was spinning around 360 degrees as it's flying thousands of miles through the air. I'm not buying that either. So they're giving the community and all the viewers a lot of misinformation and really confusing a lot of people. I think they need to have one established group that speak on the topic for the government, and that's it. Pick two or three main people that are going to speak and give you the information because when it's coming from all these different talking heads, it gets very confusing, all the stories. We need one main source where we get the information from the government. I think that would be helpful.
It seems to me that they're manipulating the people out there into thinking maybe, yeah, they want people to see the UFOs and UAPs as a threat, maybe to get, I don't know, money for a safety issue or something like that. I don't know. It's a very strange situation. And then, like I said, again, for me, it's it's the strangeness of all of this. Like I said, the mummies, Jake Barber, Jason Sands, David Grush, the hearings, now that, and the drones also. I count the drones also.
Mhm.
It's very strange. So a lot of stuff happened within the last, let's say, 2 years. Very, a lot of stuff happened, and that's strange. Very strange.
What bothers me more than anything, though, guys, is when you really look at the big picture, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Lou Elizondo, all these people are making big, big money off the topic right now, right? And the more cool stuff that they think is cool that they bring out, like the egg UFO or the mothership story or any of these stories, just make them more money. It's just another documentary for them to put out and make more money, right? So they have to keep it juicy. They have to keep it interesting to keep the public engaged. That's why we're seeing just a flood of UFO stories come out. That's really what's going on, you know?
Is this
The
a new
money.
episode of Mork and Mindy?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Exactly what it is.
But no, I think even throughout, is there cases throughout history that there are egg-shaped UFOs? I mean, we have Pascagoula case with 1973 with Calvin Parker. They could describe an egg-shaped UFO picking them up. So I don't disbelieve that there's UFOs shaped like these egg things, but yeah, again, it's just maybe they are just making these egg things copycats and kind of making this shit up at the same time to kind of just confuse us. And the slow drip of disclosure, again, the fact that this topic is being talked about in Congress, it's not like they're talking about ghosts and Bigfoot and shit, you know what I'm saying? This shit's
Right,
real.
right. Yeah.
But
You're
no,
absolutely
you're right. I think it's just they're only going to give you so fucking much, and Congress is lying their ass off on what they really know. Because no, I tell you the truth, they came out tomorrow and told us that they're flying amongst us all day long. I probably want to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's society would come to a complete
a
halt
halt.
almost.
Yeah.
That's why another reason why it's all this disinformation and all the truths and what's little truths are coming out and what are big lies. And it's just a big mix of shit. That's the part of the process of fucking us up here up on top. Who knows? There's probably underground bases that we don't even know about and shit coming out of the water. Oh man. I
Well,
don't know. Yeah, sorry.
don't forget too that all these congressmen have constituents that vote for
Mm-hmm.
them. And
Mm-hmm.
the minute they seen how their constituents are so into the UFO subject today, it's not like it was 50 years ago, 20 years ago. People love the UFO subject.
Right.
They love it. So you got all these congressmen saying, all my voters love this. Let's talk about it. The more we talk about it, the more when it's time for my vote to come in, my constituents are going to come out in droves to vote for me because I'm on top of the UFO disclosure movement. They're going to love me for this. So why not? Why not jump on the bandwagon, right? And it's the same talking heads, Tim Burchett and Chuck Schumer pushing for disclosure now, right? So I don't know. I think it's all one big cash grab with these guys, is what I
Sure.
think.
Sure.
True disclosure is going to come from us.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
day, Dustin, you're going to be out with a camera, or Daniel or myself. We're going to film something amazing, and we're going to show it to the world. And that's when you're going to have your aha moment. You know what I mean? It's not going to come from these guys. It's going to come from one of us or someone like us that really has passion for it, and that you're out there, boots on the ground, every day with a camera, really trying to solve what's going on. That's how it's going to happen.
We might have talked about this before, but what do you think, Anthony, does the government have in terms of UFOs, back engineering, stuff like that? What do you think do we really have?
Well, again, I'm only speculating. I film strange objects in the sky all the time. All right. I have all the software. My team has thousands of dollars of software to do it and track it and get all the data off it. So we know that the objects that we film, they're not satellites or space junk or anything of that nature, right? Because we're pulling data off it. Being that that's true, and I know that to be true, a UFO had to have crashed on Earth at one point. And if it did, the government did retrieve it, and I'm certain that they reverse engineer it, or they attempted to engineer it. Now, I don't think that we have 100 or 500 craft in an underground base somewhere. Maybe we have 3 or 4 of them over time throughout the decades. That maybe some of them are in pieces. Maybe one of them is put together. Maybe one of them is semi-operational or fully operational. I don't know, but they have blueprints for alien reproduction vehicles. People have actually witnessed them. So I think we have a handful of them. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them are totally in operation. What they use them for, I don't know. But I think the American government and governments around the world probably have craft. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Hmm. I mean, there's some pretty convincing videos out there. I saw one on your YouTube channel actually today. I saw the boomerang UFO. That was very interesting. Very convincing video. Very, very interesting video. Um, we've talked about it before. Dustin also saw a boomerang-shaped UFO. Maybe
Yeah.
Dustin can tell us a story for the audience one more time, and I can look for your video, Anthony. As
Please, sure.
Sure. So it was October 19th, 2012, right behind Hoyt Park. It's a big park near the west side here. And my car was parked on Kendall Avenue. And I was leaving my girlfriend's apartment. And I was walking in my car, and the sun was going down. So I just happened to look into the sky, and this fucking boomerang came out of nowhere, and it had like 5 white dim lights underneath it. It was like jet black, 40 feet above the treetops, going about 45 miles per hour. Enough where I'm just jaw dropping, flying over my head. I mean, what the hell was that? I was like, again, I was so confused. I thought it was a military plane, but the fact that it had no sound whatsoever, I think like the crickets stopped. Like everything the animals stopped, everything just sat still. And I ran back to my girlfriend's house, just wigging out. And then, yeah, my story ended there. But again, it started this whole journey of getting into the UFO community and finding out what the hell did I see. And, I don't know.
It's funny that you mentioned the cricket stopped, because whenever I tell my encounter, everything went silent. No
Yeah,
more
it did.
birds. I didn't hear no more cars. I didn't hear anything. Everything went dead silent.
It did.
Strange, very strange. And then I had missing time with my experience. I had about 5 hours missing time, but I I don't remember going in anywhere, but standing in the same spot that I was in. So it was really weird for me. Even when I went back to the site where it happened, it was weird. But were you were sitting in your car, or you were just out in the street when you
Yeah,
experienced?
I was about to get into my car, but I was standing
You
outside
were
my
outside.
car.
You were
Yeah,
outside.
just watching it. Yeah.
Did you feel anything, like any weird vibrations or anything, or just like that?
Just that shock feeling of
Yeah,
this that
yeah,
fear almost a little bit because this is like, why am I not hearing that roar of an engine? Is it like a dying
right.
plane? Like, was it
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
is this
yeah, yeah,
low enough too? Or like, why is that super low?
yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
so many questions were going through my head. And then yeah, like when it passed through me, I was like, that's a fucking UFO. And I ran back to my girlfriend's house and I was just like, yo. And yeah, that was awesome.
Did it look like the Phoenix lights?
Kinda. Again, it's
Type
just
stuff?
five white dim lights, and it was the object itself was kind of flat and like jet black. It didn't
Right.
nothing, no reflection off of it. Just weird. Yeah.
There's a CGI video. I'm gonna see if I can find it of one of these boomerangs. And the what you're describing to me is this object in a T. I want to see if it's familiar to you. So hang on a second.
Sure.
As soon as I find it, I'll send it over to David because this was probably the best rendition of a boomerang UFO I ever seen
Cool.
be done. And a lot of people describe the same exact boomerang style craft with the lights underneath it. I mean, it's. I would love to see one of these boomerang craft because it's just. Here it is. I seen the triangle craft, and that was frightening enough. But
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
even
I've seen
imagine.
something like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't even imagine seeing one of these boomerangs though. That's how wide do you think the structure was? Stories?
Again, it was if a school bus was driving like sideways, you know what I'm saying? Like the length of the school bus. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah,
So that's why I was like
absolutely.
thinking like we don't have any at least drones that I think about in 2012 like that, right? That big.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And it could be like an alien drone thing too. Who knows? Like the fact that it was
Yeah.
dead silent, I don't know. It would wig me out. I was like, whoa, what the hell was that?
Did anybody else in the town witness the object?
No, but I didn't meet another. Well, I didn't meet him personally, but I heard about this guy's story that lives in Superior, Wisconsin, that's way up north. And he saw the exact same craft that he described to a T. I was like, damn. It was not the same year. It was different years. But the fact that here in Wisconsin, it's a treasure trove of modern day UFO sightings. We have three towns that claim to be the UFO capital of the world: Dundee,
Right.
Elmwood, and Belleville have their yearly UFO parades. So, and Elmwood's been around since the 1940s. And I don't know if you know, APRO, the first UFO organization, was formed in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, with Coral Lorenzen and her husband Robert. And that's what turned into MUFON after a while.
Right. Right.
But again, the fact that there's the first UFO organization in the United States started here in Wisconsin. Come on now.
So is that pretty much what you're seeing, a boomerang like that?
That's exactly what I saw, but a lot smaller.
Now
Like
just imagine seeing this in the street walking to your girlfriend's house. My hair would have stood up.
oh yeah, and then having jets flying around that too. Oh my god.
You would have really shit your pants if they were fighter jets escorting that thing, man.
Yeah.
Right? No, it's amazing. Yeah, again, size of a school bus. That's what was fucking me up. Like not knowing what it was. But I never seen a drone that big back in 2012.
No, no way. No. Now I filmed lights in the sky in a V formation. Just the white lights like that. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
see the structure to the well, one time I seen the structure to the craft, but it was a cigar shape. And it was absolutely massive, but it was so far away from me that my Psionics night vision camera just caught the object going into the clouds. And like I had a lot of different computer experts like try to pull that image in, and we could see that it was definitely well over 150, 200 feet long because the lights that
Sure.
ran under it. But even seeing that from such a far distance makes your hair stand up. You get goosebumps because you're like, how is that staying afloat in the sky?
Right.
Is it alien or is it ours? And if it's ours, where are they hiding something like that? Where does it take off and land without nobody seeing something that massive? I mean,
Right.
that's the $1 million question, right? But then when you start doing your research, you realize the military owns property and owns bases that go for hundreds of miles. You can't get near them. And I guess they could take off and land from a secure facility like that without being seen. Like Area 51, for example, S4 facility is behind the mountains by Papoose Lake on the opposite side. It's like in the middle of the test range. You couldn't see it if you stood on a mountaintop. Like you would
Mm.
have to cross a few mountaintops on their property just to see Area S4, but it's 100% there. You know, like Bob Lazar. People give Bob Lazar a lot of shit, but I know people that personally know Bob Lazar, and they swear that the guy's truthful. I'm on the fence. I don't know. I never personally spoke to him, but a lot of the things he spoke about in the 80s have come true now, right? But then you know how it is when you do your research, you'll always find somebody that can debunk everything that you're researching. So again, your own research, my own research, our own research is where I always choose to lie, with at the end of the day, because I know I can trust myself explicitly. You know what I'm saying? And again, I think one of us will catch something amazing by mistake one day, and that'll be it. There'll be no putting the genie back in the bottle once that happens.
Right. Let's take a look at the video I found on your YouTube channel, Anthony.
Sure. There we
Here we
go.
go. Damn.
Oh,
And again, another boomerang.
yes.
And what I loved
Just
about
like
this,
that too, just with the 5 dim lights.
you
Yeah.
know what I loved about this video? Look at the footage. It looks like somebody shot this with a shitty cell phone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know? It doesn't look like somebody went out of their way
To try to fake that.
to try to fake anything. I get a lot of these videos sent to my channel. I'm very selective with what I put up. This looked genuine to me. I don't know why somebody would go out of their way to make it look all distorted and everything like that.
True.
So, and this was taken in Texas, right?
Yes, Texas.
Yeah. And when?
I think I got the backstory on it. Give me 1 second. Let me just take a peek here for you.
I don't know. Something about it makes me think it's a human-made craft. Maybe it's the stripes that fool me a little bit.
Very possible. Blah, 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 blah. Filmed with infrared, Amarillo, Texas, August 5th, 2024.
2024. So, and was it filmed at night? I guess so.
I mean,
Or a
looking at
cloudy day,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, definitely cloudy. I think they're using a grayscale. Here's what I think we're looking at. I think somebody filmed it with a crappy cell phone, and then they tried to enhance the footage, so they put that grayscale over it to try to
Sure.
put it out. And I think that's what you're seeing. So I really don't know if it's day or night, but looking at it, I would say like maybe like the sun just went down, and it's still a little light outside. I think that's what we're looking at. But the
There's
clouds
no
are very white.
there's no blinking lights on it, so that's another thing that's where
No,
it might not be military at all, or even an
no
aircraft.
FAA light. Yeah.
Yeah,
But then
that's amazing.
somebody brought up another great point that I always come back to. Why do UFOs need lights on them? For
Right.
what purpose? If they want to be elusive, why would they turn the lights on? And that's a really good point. But we have lights on all our vehicles too, right? Maybe they need lights on them on their planet too. Maybe it's, they got a couple of similar things over there.
Or is that's how it powers their craft? Who knows?
Could be the power source that we're looking at. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's so many questions. Again, the day we actually get, and here's another thing that aggravates me. Everybody getting the title UFO expert. That doesn't bother you? Oh, he's a UFO expert. This guy's a UFO. How can you be a UFO expert if you didn't ever put your hands on an actual UFO and study
Sure.
the thing, right?
Right.
I don't know.
And this brings me to another point that bothers me a lot when people talk about UFOs and alleged UFO crashes. people always tell me, nah, I don't think that UFOs can crash. They don't come from far, far away with their advanced technology just to come here to crash. I say,
No.
why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
exactly. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Just like the other day, Elon Musk put the Starship up, and part of it blew up, and the other half came back and landed properly, and all of that. Right? Shit happens. Just because it's extraterrestrial and it's very advanced doesn't mean one of those very advanced components inside there could go haywire and explode.
Yeah.
100% it can.
And these vehicles are going across the stars. My God. So
Right.
it's going to take a
Well,
beat up on these vehicles, or even underwater. Who knows? Like, how the fuck that?
that's another thing I'm curious about. Are they coming through different dimensions? Like I like to think, because interstellar travel, that's a hard pill to swallow. Like, how are you going to travel millions of miles like that unless you're going through wormholes and stuff like that, right? Like the
Right.
Einstein Rosen Bridge and things like that. I think they travel through dimensions, like they dimension hop is what I'm thinking. Um, because when you film some of these objects that go transmedium in the sky, and what I mean is we'll be filming an object and it's there, it's bright, it's big, and you're watching it cruise, and then all of a sudden it's just gone, just totally gone. And you're like, where did it go? I think they have the ability to just transverse, start up whatever warp drive, whatever they got in there, and they jump from here to here, like in a split second. And it's the strangest thing. Last night, I was at my mom's house for her birthday. Happy birthday, mom! And my 8-year-old nephew, Danny, he's a big kid, loves UFOs. I mean, every time I come there, please bring your cameras, please bring your camera. We'll look for the aliens. Last night, he begs me we go outside in the backyard in New Jersey. Beautiful sky. And the minute the kid stepped outside, he goes, look up. And I thought I was going to look up and see a plane. There was a huge glowing orange object flying through the sky. I filmed it. I have it on film. And then the next object flies right through it and intersects. While he's filming this, the kid, I'm on the phone looking on the apps to see, could that be a satellite? Could it be International Space Station? Nothing. Now, there's other satellites in the background, and you could tell they're satellites because they're very faint and dim. But these two big sphere objects, I'll send you the video, Daniel. I couldn't even believe it. This
Oh,
kid, 8 years old, filmed this last night. 8 years old.
oh, damn.
I was very impressed.
So, do you think there's some people out there who are, I don't know how to put it in words. I always observe that there's people that see a lot of UFOs, and then there's people that never see something like that, even if they observe the sky. That's strange to me. So we have
Uh,
people seeing UFOs all the time.
I don't know if they don't see UFOs or they just don't know what to look for. You know what I mean?
Or maybe it's a consciousness thing. Maybe some people are more I don't know.
Susceptible to it, like they're
Yeah,
supposed to see it, and some
yeah.
people are not. I can get on board with that too. I can get on board with that. But for years, since I'm a kid, I'm telling my parents that UFOs exist. When I was 13, I had my sighting. I knew what I seen. There was nobody that was going to tell me different. I don't care who you were. I knew what I seen, and that was that. And my parents used to tell me when I was a kid, there's no such things as UFOs. You're crazy. I'm telling you, there's no such thing. Get that out of your head. And now my parents tell me, you are absolutely right. You've been on the money your whole life and you stuck to your guns your whole life. Like, I would not let down. I would tell my parents, no, you're crazy. You don't know because you didn't experience it. I'm telling you, these things are out there. I'm telling you. I promise you. And now my parents say to me, you are absolutely right. You are
That's
absolutely right.
that's
But
cool.
do you think that does mean that there's some kind of connection between these people and the phenomena? A special kind of connection, maybe?
I I I don't know, man, because look, myself, and I can speak for Robert and my other team members, Mike, we go out and a couple days may go by where we don't see something, but eventually during the week, you're gonna catch something. So I think anybody that really went out there and really tried to film for a couple hours a night, eventually they're gonna spot something that isn't on our tracking software, that's not a top secret satellite or the ISS or something man-made. They're gonna see something they can't explain eventually. I just think they just have to get out there and put more work into it. Could it be like you said that, these sightings are meant for us to experience, certain people to experience? It's very possible. It's very possible. I like to take one of those people out that never seen a UFO before and let them come out and use the equipment and maybe we experience something together. I always challenge those people to come, open invite. That's what I say. Come.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to find out, though, Daniel.
When you said you think that they travel through dimensions, yeah, I thought about some theories I've been writing down and thinking about. Um, I think, and it's just a crazy theory. I might have told you before, but sometimes I imagine a long lost civilization that lived on Earth, long lost civilization that somehow managed to conquer quantum physics, stuff like that, and found a way to exist in some other type of dimension, realm, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be too esoteric now, but and this is what we see now. This is what we see sometimes. It's bleed throughs from these dimensions. Maybe sometimes we see UFOs just for the blink of a second,
Right.
bam, and gone. And
Yep.
sometimes we see other strange things too. And I'm talking about all these phenomena, Bigfoot, ghosts, all these kind of phenomena. Sometimes they're just here for a second, and then they're gone. And maybe this could be some kind of bleed through from these dimensions, maybe from a long lost civilization, not aliens, a long lost civilization that found a way to I don't know, get away from a catastrophe or I don't know, something like that. They found a way to exist in another form.
On another timeline. Yeah. And look, none of us ever witnessed an actual alien. You know what I mean? We never actually got to. We don't really know if the Greys exist or blue aliens or Nordic. We don't know. We just see the objects in the sky, right? Like you said, Daniel, how do we know that it's not another version of human being that went off world? Earth has gone through many cataclysmic events where civilizations have got wiped out and then, we restart over and over and over again. Who's to say that millions of years ago, a civilization didn't get so advanced that they were able to go off world and leave this planet before a big cataclysm and they populated somewhere else? You know what I mean? Very plausible that it's us from the past, coming back to visit us now, and we don't intercept with each other because we're afraid we're going to destroy each other, like your religion and the way you guys live. If we come, we'll just destroy each other. We're not meant to meet, but we still like to come and see where you guys are now, how you how you built up again.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the hidden people of Iceland. You heard of these people? You ever
I've
heard of
heard that.
Iceland?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's amazing that the government and more than half of the population of Iceland believe in the hidden people have this interdimensional. They're sharing this interdimensional world on Iceland with these people. And they can't make certain roads, they can't move certain rocks without getting the
Right.
permission from the hidden people. I don't know if they had to write a message in a bottle and throw it near the cove or what the hell they do. I have no idea how that works. But again, there's been reported deaths, people getting sick, and other machinery being broken if you don't obey the hidden people there, or the elves they call them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's even this woman that I interviewed. She was from Iceland, and she was even talking about there's modern sexual relationships with some of these hidden people, where they actually modern people just disappear
Wow.
with these elves and go into their dimension and won't come back because it's so much more beautiful and whatever it was. But yeah, she describes them more like the Lord of the Rings type of elves, like very clean cut, long hair, blonde. Like again, the Nordics, kind of like
Yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
it could be ET related type shit. I don't know.
Even Admiral Byrd, like in the
Yeah.
1940s, said he went to Inner Earth and they escorted him with vehicles that were totally different than ours. And why would an admiral for the Navy come up with a story like that? Back then, that would destroy your career. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That was game over for you. But he stuck to that to the end of his life that
Yeah.
that actually happened. Who are we to judge and say that these things are impossible? They probably are. We're just too close-minded, a lot of us, to believe anything like that, you know?
Same
Yeah.
with some other guys like Bob Lazari, also. Yeah, yeah,
Even Bob, like, he may have 10% of what he said might have been truth, and 90% might have been bullshit, elaborated, right? Like extrapolated. But who's to say that that 10% wasn't factual? He got element 115 right, and nobody knew about that in the 80s. That's right down to how you cut it and fold it and utilize it. Like, how would he know how to synthesize something that wasn't even synthesized yet? And we were nowhere close to synthesizing it in the 80s.
yeah.
So I don't know.
And he also risked it all for his story.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He sure did.
Mm.
And the government can 100% wipe your records out. I don't care who says it. They can take it all away very easily. Just like, and I use the example, just like the Central Intelligence Agency, when you become a spy and they give you a fake background, here's your new driver's license, here's your new passport with your new name, here's credit cards with money. Just the way they could set you up with a fake identity is the same way they could take away an identity. So don't think they can't do that, because they sure can.
Right, right. Let's
Mm.
take a look at the video it's just sent me. I think it's from the Orange Object, right?
Your
Yeah,
son
yeah.
told this?
My 8-year-old nephew
Oh,
last
your
night.
nephew. Okay.
So there's the orange object right there.
Oh, wow.
And I'm watching it, and the first thing I thought in my head, okay, maybe kid sees a satellite, or the International Space Station's usually bright. No, neither of them. And what was so odd is this one flies into this one now. They
Oh, there's
cross each,
two. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look at
Oh, wow.
and I'm yelling in this video. Don't I got music in the video, but I'm like, oh my god,
that.
dude, oh my god. But wait, it gets crazier. These things just different. I mean, there's a few satellites in the video too, but other objects just start coming out of the woodwork.
Did these
The
things?
minute this kid looked up to the sky, this happened. I couldn't even believe it. And I'm watching him, film. I'm looking up with my own eyes to the sky, and I see this bright as day.
Are they flying in
Whatever
a
happened
straight
to the other
line, or do
one?
they
No,
change
no,
direction?
no. It does a big like loop. Look, another one passes. That's a satellite that
That's the
passes.
satellite, yeah.
So you can tell what a satellite is very easily. See, those two are satellites. Goes another one. Now that one just appeared out of the middle of the sky. It just like turned on and shot straight up. Again, out of the middle of the sky. Makes no sense. Satellites don't do that. Just turn on. Look, that's three.
It's like a dance, like a choreography.
It was really beautiful. It's crazy. And that went on for about 10 minutes, and then the air just went dead. Nothing after that. So again, to your point, could this have been meant for the kid to see last night? Very possible, because the minute we set foot outside, it happened.
Wow. So did these things disappear right away, or what happened then?
So this one came down and it went behind the tree line, and that other one that comes up and intersects, it went up and it made like a big turn, and then it came straight down. So it went up, it did a 45 and came down, and then I lost it. It kind of faded out.
You said they changed directions, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Satellites don't change direction like that. They stay on the same exact course that they're on throughout space. They don't turn like that.
So you also see a lot of UFOs and stuff. That's crazy. But it's your job.
It's my job. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm out there all the time, every night.
So cool.
That's wild. Some of the videos I sent Robert and you a few days ago came from Dustin. He filmed it
Oh
in
yeah.
his backyard. Yeah, they were also very
So you
interesting.
go you go out often?
Oh no. Well, again, this is total luck. My last I was there's a big storm here in Madison where it knocked the power out for weeks here in the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
wow.
So I just wanted to catch some cool lightning in slow motion mode on my iPhone, and I
Yeah.
just aimed it at the sky, and I caught some cool lightning, and I ran back into the house. And I looked back at the video, and this fucking UFO comes shooting up from the right to the left. After one single leaf, the wind was blowing about 50 miles per hour. One single leaf gets blown into frame where like the
Uh,
UFO and the leaf intersects each other. But like it's awesome because the size and reference of the leaf and the UFO gives it great reference of size and what it was. And then you actually can see the sound barrier being broke,
really?
or that, or it's the shadow off the clouds of the UFO. I don't know if
You have
Daniel,
this video?
Daniel, do you have it?
You have this video clip?
Did
I
you?
do. I mean, I could send it to you, Daniel.
We
Yeah,
got it.
send
I
it to
got
me. Send it to me.
this.
So, oh no, no, he's gone. What's interesting is that there are no reports on what Dustin saw other than his, and same with my experience in 1996.
Well, I sent it in to MoveOn, the video, and I got
Oh, shame on you.
well,
Yeah,
I was told by thousands after I got like 36,000 views uh on Facebook. But
yeah,
yeah, I can send it to Daniel here.
send it to me. Yeah, let this. Oh, I think I showed it to Anthony already. No, no, let's watch it. But yeah, what I was about to say is that that's what's interesting is my experience in 1996. Nobody else seemed to saw it. It was a clear night. It was the sky was clear, and we could see it very good. This triangle-shaped UFO I saw in 1996 with the light in the middle, we could see it very, very good. It was very visible, and it was a warm summer night. And you would think that there's more people out there and looking into the sky because it was beautiful to look at the sky. But there's no report, not a single report other than mine. No, wait. Years later, many years later, some guy, when I had this podcast already, some guy contacted me from 50 kilometers away and he said, Summer 1996, I saw a similar object and it could have been the same on the same day, maybe, because I don't remember the exact day and date, of course. But that makes me think maybe it was meant for us. I don't know. It's a strange thought, maybe, but maybe it was for us. I don't know. For us, for
Even
me and the two other witnesses.
even my
Daniel,
sighting.
send you that
I was
video.
I was dirt bike riding with 11 people. 11 people were in the woods with me dirt bike riding. And I was the only one that seen it. The only
Hmm.
one that seen it. There's people in the neighborhood that seen it, but nobody that was in the woods with me witnessed. None of my friends that I was with witnessed it. Strange.
Yeah, this is very strange. Um, Dustin, the video is not working.
No,
Maybe you can share the screen.
I
Share the
I
screen.
can't share videos on the iPad, unfortunately.
Okay, no, it's not working.
Uh,
Unfortunately. Yeah,
All right.
well, you guys, I could send it. Well, I'll get your information. I could send it to you.
Yeah,
Take
I'm
a look
dying
at
to
it.
see this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah. Let's send it to him later. So, another topic, the last topic for today, I want to talk about is the whistleblower we talked about before a little bit, Jason Sands. Um, are you guys familiar with the story of Jason Sands in
Yeah.
whole? Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
So he has crazy claims. He also claimed to have participated in a secret space program called 20 and Back, which supposedly involved spending 20 years interacting with extraterrestrials and visiting military bases across the solar system before being returned to Earth with no memory of the time spent. What a crazy claim. What do you guys think?
James, that's the guy that James Fox pulled out, right?
Yeah.
One of James Fox's guys. Yeah, the secret alien assassination pilot guy, whistleblower. Yeah, I don't know what to think of him, but when I hear about those 20 and back programs, I think they're all nonsense. And I'm sorry, but I just don't think that we have programs that are advanced like that, where you can regrow limbs. Like they got that guy Randy Kramer saying he had limbs chopped off and they grew them back. And come on, what is this, Star Trek? I mean, no, no. And people really believe that shit. I just don't buy it. if we have a secret space program, I think the extent of it would be we're working on the moon or on Mars right now, building habitats, and nobody knows we have people there building habitats or whatever. That would be the extent of a secret space program. I don't think we have teams of elite soldiers going out there and fighting the Draco reptilian races. I don't buy none of that. And it makes for good book sales and good movies and things like that. It's interesting. But look what happened with Corey Good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's another one. He got
Yeah.
busted just because he had to do a court deposition, and the lawyer, because the lawyer didn't like him, teared him apart and made him admit that it was all fake. Same thing with David Wilcock now and Emery
Yeah.
Smith, and Emery Smith saying they were sending him alien body parts on conveyor belts, and he did 20 and back, and it all turned out to be BS. And it's sad because those stories are so interesting, right? If they were true, wow, like what do we have? What kind of technology do we have that we really don't know about, right? But we're in the age of technology now, and we can tear through your life with a couple of clicks on the keyboard. We can find anything we need to find out about somebody today. You will not hide stories like that if they're true. They're going to be uncovered, and they're just not true. They're just not true. And it's sad that they go that far to try to make people really believe that they're true.
And that's that's the
It's
question.
the money grab. The money grab.
The money
Cash grab. That's the big problem today. All the money that ufology makes. I didn't get into ufology to make money. I don't even monetize my channel. I could care less about it. I really want to know what these objects are, how they operate, why they're coming here. What's the fascination with Earth? Do we have an element here that they don't have on their planet, like water? Are they running out of water on their planet? They come here, they get it, they go. I don't know. What is it? Why are they so fascinated with Earth? Or are we like a zoo to them? Like, oh, let's go out this weekend and see the weird humans on Earth. Don't forget to lock the doors when you fly through, kids. Like maybe it could be anything, but I want to know. And when I find out, I'm going to let the whole world know, whether they believe it or not. I'm going to let them know what I find out. And more people need to do that, I think.
Yeah. Like I said, it brings back to another question. Yeah, I've asked it before. How does these extreme claims made by whistleblowers like Sands affect the public understanding in terms of UFOs and alien or extraterrestrial life? What
Extraordinary claims deserve extraordinary evidence. Anybody can say something. Oh, I got beamed up to another planet last night. Let me tell you, they have great food on planet X. We had a great time there, right? I'm telling you a bullshit story, right? But there's people that would really believe that Anthony got beamed up with aliens last night. They took him out of his bed. They took him to Planet X. They ate, he danced, he got some alien girl pregnant. There's people that believe those stories. There's actually people going around saying that an alien got them pregnant and they have an alien child. Okay, if that's true, where's the alien child so we could study its DNA to see if it's really alien?
Have you ever heard of Peter Curry in Australia?
That name sounds so familiar, and I probably know the face.
It's a freaky story.
Freaky story.
Refresh me.
So he's this guy who claims that he was in bed. And it was like about 7 o'clock in the morning. He felt like a cat jumped onto his bed. He's like, I don't own a cat. And he realized when he opened his eyes that he was being straddled by like a milky white skinned woman, well proportionate, and was riding his cock. And he's just like, what the fuck is going on? And he sees another naked woman sitting on the bed. And he's like trying to get up, and she cups the back of his head and smothers him in her tits. He just starts to get in panic mode. He takes a bite out of her to get her off him. Yeah, and then again he hears voices in his head, and he's like, oh, he did this wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then they just kind of disappeared out of thin air. Then he noticed it had a boner for like 6 hours. That was excruciating, and he had noticed there was something wrapped around his penis. And it was like, like if you stuck your finger and made an indent, and then he took a tweezers. Yeah, exactly. But
alien Viagra.
Yeah, exactly. But again, after taking his hair off his penis, it like fucking his erection went away. So it's like, whoa. So I guess he took this to scientists. They found some weird studies. There's all different race of humans, like being genetically manipulated. I don't know. Really weird claim.
Even though that's unpack that for a minute. Even though that story sounds crazy, he still had material that was left over from the alleged incident that he took for testing, allegedly, right?
And he took a lie detector test and passed with flying colors.
So now that story interests me because there's data and evidence that were collected, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If there was none, you would have lost me at pulling tape off a boner. But he kept the material and had it tested. That is interesting to me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And a lot of people hoax stuff like that. Like I did a story a couple of weeks ago about somebody that had a UFO that had damage to it, and it was dripping molten metal onto their property, and they took the molten metal and they want to get it tested or whatever. And it turns out the guy went on Amazon and he bought these pieces of melted meteorite
Oh.
because I investigated the story. Like I put the story up when it happened, but I'm gonna investigate and find out. And then I found out he bought these pieces of melted meteorite and try to fool everybody that they were a piece of a UFO. But that happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Talking about evidence, there's another story, Dustin, the one with the bread.
Oh yeah. So can I share pictures? I got pictures of this.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
share.
Is this another Wisconsin famous story here and takes place in 1961 with Joe Simonton in Eagle
Mhm.
River, Wisconsin. You heard
Yeah.
of this guy?
Yep.
So yeah, I can tell a quick story. Um he witnessed when he was in his kitchen eating breakfast, saw this silver flying saucer come landing on his driveway, and he runs out like, what the hell? And he sees his door opens and this like Italian looking man with olive skin, 5 foot tall, wearing a tight blue jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And had like an empty jug and he was motioning for water, and Joe was trying to get a conversation going, but nothing was going. And he had really penetrating eyes where you couldn't really look at the alien in the face. So he runs and fetches a bunch of water for this alien, and he noticed there's two other guys inside this craft over this flat flameless grill cooking these pancakes that this guy is holding in his hand. And he was just like, for the exchange of water, got four of these, and he's still trying to get a conversation going, and they weren't saying anything. He took a bite of one of them and said it tastes like a piece of cardboard. And UFO just took off and shot him to the sky like a bullet. And he was left there all dumbfounded, and he calls the authorities. And apparently there was other people who reported a UFO in the area. And he just told their story and gave his evidence to the cops and to the scientists. And they found out that there were regular buckwheat pancakes, but did not have any trace of salt. And that's impossible because everything organic on Earth has a trace of salt because of the oceans. So that doesn't mean that buckwheat couldn't be, grown on a different planet or somewhere else,
Yeah.
or even on a spaceship or whatever the fuck. you know,
So this what we're looking at right here is a buckwheat pancake
without salt.
Well,
That's impossible because
yeah.
buckwheat has some natural salt, like as we do, or trees, everything that grows naturally here. So very odd.
Very odd indeed. And again, he kept the ET element that was given to him.
Yeah, so these are like the holy grails of like contacts too. I mean, it's just like they're as dumb and puzzled. That's like I love about these people too, who get this evidence of like, what is this? It makes it feel like these ETs like to fuck with people. And if you think,
who was the guy they were calling him the alien slayer? He got the alien with the samurai sword. Did you ever hear that story?
Oh, I heard that story, but I don't remember.
I forget where it's like a Skinwalker Ranch type situation. Guy lives out in the middle of nowhere and he's having problems. He has these aliens that just keep coming back onto his property. And they materialize and dematerialize in and out of his house, he's saying. And one night he wakes up to his wife levitating and floating out of the bed, like laying down. And he sees two beings on each side standing next to these little gray beings, and they're walking, and she's just floating out of the room, but they have her encapsulated in some weird device. And this guy happened to have a samurai sword from World War II on a stand. He takes the samurai sword off, and he says he connects with one of them, and he cut the thing's arm off. And there was this weird sludge on the floor. and then his wife falls to the floor, and these two beings dematerialize. They're gone, but that it left like he called it blood, but it wasn't red. He said it was like a looked like toxic sludge that was left behind, and they were able to gather this material, and it was like some kind of weird slimy material, and it came back. The story said it came back that it was not from this earth, like the elements that
Yeah.
were not from this earth. And I thought that was such a crazy story. And again, Trace Ellens, I wish I remembered this guy's name. It's a long time ago, but that was one of the craziest stories that I've ever heard. Guy picks up a samurai sword and chops an
That's
alien arm. Like these stories, crazy stories, been going on since the beginning of ufology. We hear them.
that's what I'm saying. Like even like the story with the pancake. Think of how communion got started. That's almost like
Right,
a
right, right.
communion type deal. Even if that's like back in history, like
Well, I'll
angels
tell
coming
you one
down.
thing. I'm
Yeah.
friends with Napolitano, Linda Napolitano. Her and I are very good friends. She had the Manhattan abduction,
Mhm.
and I don't care who says what. That woman is one of the most truthful people that I know. I mean, when she tells her story, she gets very, very upset. Like you can tell that did damage to her. And Paris de Cuellar, who was the head diplomat for the United Nations, he witnessed it with his security detail on the FDR Drive, along with thousands of other people, saw her levitate out of her building and be taken away into a craft. Now, that is one of the best UFO stories, I think, still to this day, that stood the test of time and all the scrutiny that she's been put through. I think that's a truthful event,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
that's a very interesting case. And I always wonder why a lot of these UFO and slash abduction stories are so bizarre. Like the Pascagoula case, Kevin Parker claims that he's been dragged with his friend together. They've been dragged into this UFO, and at the entrance of the UFO, they got a shot,
Mhm.
like some tranquilizer. I
Paralyze
don't
them.
know. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
to paralyze
like
them
they
a
were
little bit.
inoculated.
And then there was this alien woman who shoved her extra XXL middle finger down his throat, and those stories are so bizarre. Makes you wonder what, why,
What about Travis Walton? The Travis Walton
also,
abduction.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. That's one of the
I,
best ones.
I know Travis. I hung out with him last year, and he tells that story verbatim every time he tells it. Like he doesn't skip a beat. But when you really sit down, like we really sat down and had lunch together, and I really heard this, like he describes being on the craft, and he picked up something that reminded him of a tube to like swing at these things, and like he really gets into detail, like right how that tube felt in his hands, and it was light as a feather but very strong. Like little details like that. Like there's truth to whatever he's saying. He believes what he's saying.
And the fact that he was interacting with human ETs, blonde
Right, they look
hair,
like
blue
Nordics.
eyed. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
very
awesome.
interesting.
Especially if he was gone for 5 or 6 days and his
Right.
But
friends are going to be put up for murder, you know?
he thinks that when the beam of light hit him, it blew him apart. It like tore him open, is what he thinks. And he thinks he was the aliens that did that to him were one race. And while he was in space or wherever, he was transported onto another craft, which was like one of their hospital vessels that put him back together again. That's why it took a few days. He thinks he got his chest was torn open, is what he thinks, and they were re-putting him back together. Is what he really thinks. But
Wow.
again, I wish we had some evidence for that.
Well, I think, yeah, they wanted to help him, obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
because he would have been dead, or just gone, you
But
know?
it's very interesting the way he explains that he thinks one race of aliens did damage to him, and the other ones were kind enough to help him and save him. Like when he was on the craft, he says those Nordic beings, he thought they were humans. Like, he was talking to them just like we're talking right now, but they didn't. He couldn't understand them when they spoke, and like they gestured to follow, and they took him to another room to give him more treatment, and he said he was terrified. He said the movie Fire in the Sky is
Oh,
not
I know
like it
that's, oh, yeah,
at
definitely not.
all.
No.
He said that's all Hollywood. It wasn't like that at all, but it was still crazy.
Well,
I don't know if I
I
would be
kind of
able
wish he.
to.
A lot of crazy stuff. Are you
Yeah.
guys familiar with Mike Cleland? When I
Not,
see when I
not
say owls and UFOs,
I know
of
owls and UFOs from
Oh
Alaska,
yeah.
the
yeah.
Alaska stories.
If you go to Google and type in owls and UFOs, Mike Cleland shows up, and he writes about the connection between owls and UFOs. And he's an interesting guy. Interesting. He's an interesting story to tell. Won't get into it right now, but you can Google it for yourself. It's also a very strange thing to research, a very interesting thing to research in the first place. Um, I think the day we find out what this is all about with UFOs and stuff and all the sightings out there, we will also find out a lot about ourselves too. I think there's
Absolutely.
a lot, a lot. It has a lot to do with ourselves, with our consciousness. I think it might be just a strange, crazy thought, but I think uh, we have a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Let me ask you one question that you brought the owls up. Did you ever notice an owl's face actually looks like an alien gray if you take the beak away? The
Yeah.
almond shaped eye, the weird eye, the big eyes, and just the curvature of the face is like an almond shape, right? Do you think that when alien abductions happen, they show you an owl because it looks similar to them, not to freak you out? They show you the bird's face because you know what I mean?
I can tell you a little story before we quit. I interviewed this young guy on my German channel, and he told me the story. Dustin knows the story, I guess. He told me the story when he was just a young boy. I think he was 6 years old. His parents sent him out to bring the garbage out, and he brought the garbage out, and to the next to the garbage can, he saw Santa Claus. That's what he told me. He saw Santa Claus with strange eyes. And
Okay.
Santa Claus was pointing at the sky. And he was just 6 years or seven, might be 7 years old. I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. And Santa Claus pointed at the sky. The boy looked at where Santa Claus pointed, and he saw an orb. Or was it two orbs? I think he saw an orb. And this orb separated, and there was two orbs. So that's how it all began for him. And later in his life, when he was 12 or 13, he was at his grandparents' house. And one night he woke up in the middle of the night, and on his on around the bed there was he said there was strange he said that
Presents?
he said there was penguins,
Penguins.
like
Hmm.
a meter in height. There was penguins standing around his bed, like five or six. I don't know. I don't remember. It's long ago. Episode is long ago. Five or six penguins just observing, just staring at him, looking at him, and he wasn't too afraid. He was a little bit confused, but he wasn't too afraid. And long story short, the older he got, the more these penguins and strange mythological creatures, as he later told me, also turned into gray aliens. And when he was an adult, it was gray aliens standing around his bed. So when he was a kid, it was penguins, or maybe it was deers, and maybe sometimes he told me it was some cartoon figures. So it was always something he wasn't afraid of. But later it was gray aliens. Now he observes gray aliens.
My very good friend, his name is Cristo Rapolo. He had a Netflix show called The Curse of the Man That Sees UFOs in California. And same thing with him. It started like that. The abductions would come, and one day it was a moose, one day it was chipmunks, and then
Whoa.
as he got older, it was gray aliens. I
Same
think they
story.
show you. I think they show
Wow.
you things that are non-threatening to a child. Penguins are a non-threatening bird. Deer, a non-threatening animal. Things that wouldn't scare a child that they've probably seen a million times. That they know it's not a wolf or a bear. It's not going to hurt me. And then as you get older, it's always as they get older, it becomes the gray aliens that came to take them. But as children, it was a moose cartoon character or a squirrel or this or that. I find that very interesting, very similar,
Yeah.
very
Hap-
similar,
Happened in Eastern Germany.
very
I
interesting.
think before the borders were open. I don't. I don't remember everything, but yeah, I have to re-listen to the episode. It was a very interesting story, and this guy was very, yeah, believable. I believed him. I don't know. Could be some psychological issue too, of course, because he has psychological problems since then. Um, and he's very shy guy, very, very shy, and he stutters. And when he tells his story, there's no chance you don't believe him. It's the way he tells the story, and yeah, it's crazy story.
Well, even the doctor from Alaska, they did the movie called The Fourth Kind, the alien movie, The Fourth.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even she saw the owls, and all her patients witnessed the owls, and she went nuts. 2 children got abducted, and they say that's a true story. And she was a doctor; she was a psychiatrist. So, I think there's a lot of credible people out there and a lot of credible stories. I think that the hoaxes ruin it for everybody, though, because nobody believes without evidence. You know what I mean? Like fully.
See,
and it's sad.
And these are the real interesting stories, not the story of Jason Sands and David Grush.
Yeah, exactly.
Whistleblowers.
The older stories are the best.
Yeah.
I agree.
These are the interesting stories. These are the stories we have to listen to and have to wrap our minds around, and yeah, maybe believe them or don't believe them. But these stories are very interesting.
And the investigators of today are not like the investigators we had when we were growing up. Nowhere near how those guys investigated. I mean, I'm an investigator, but those like Stanton Friedman, I can't hold a candle next to him. I mean, that was a legend. I wish I, could do what he did. People don't investigate like that anymore,
No, they don't.
That's why all this shit filters out into the community, because people don't tear those people apart. They just let it happen and happen and happen and happen. Yeah. And I blame the news too, because these are the people they run to. They don't run to somebody like you or I all the time to give you logical information. They run to the nonsensical stuff because it makes money.
Right. Guys, before we wrap it up, Anthony, maybe you want to do a little bit promotion for Project Horizon?
Nah, I'm good. Yeah. We're actually doing good. We actually did our first live for the planetary alignment. That video's up. We were very successful on that one. We had like 200 people in the live chat for the first live, so we were happy with that. We have all our scientific equipment coming in. It's almost done being built. But Project Horizon, like I was saying earlier, we're doing some groundbreaking research to track, triangulate, and pull the data off our UFO sightings, and then we will be giving all the data to the community for free for peer review, along with the videos that we take of the sightings, and you'll be able to do your own analysis on what we find as well, and it's all free of charge. So yeah, come check us out. We're on Epic TV, New York, and Robert Earl White, The Order of Light, are the 2 YouTube channels that are doing this now. But yeah, the project's going very well. We're actually getting ready to go out and do New York, New Jersey, a big triangulation project in about 2 months. So as soon as that's done, I'll hit you up. You'll be the first one to get the scoop on that, Daniel.
Oh, thank you. We're excited. Thank you. Guys, it was a great talk.
Always
had
a
lot
pleasure.
of fun today. Had a lot of fun today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And please stay with me for 2 more minutes, okay?
Sure.